MVP season since 1992. You look at McCutchen, sure, he started the season a little bit low, but hitting 313, 386, 507 slash line. And look at that, tied for first with Carlos Gomez in the National League for WAR. This is a guy that not only is there a revival going on in Pittsburgh, and they got a chance to get to the playoffs, he's led the charge, and without him, this team wouldn't be where they are. Their pitching's been great, but without McCutchen, they are not in this position that they're in. I think he's the MVP.
What do you got? Stat your case on Andrew McCutchen. You have thoughts
You
there?
know, I love him. I'm born and raised a Pirate fan, so I'm all for the Pirates getting to the postseason. McCutchen's in the discussion, but he's not my guy. I'm a Yadier Molina guy. I just think that the impact that he has had in inside this year.
All right, we'll get there.
Yeah.
All right. I have to stat my case. We're gonna. All right, so we'll go Yadi now. All right, so we'll stat our case for Yadier Molina. So here you go. WAR things.
Yeah, all those things are great. The WAR, the batting, the offense has been phenomenal. It continues to get better. The fifth best ERA in baseball. That's where I go. This guy, when you get inside the Cardinals clubhouse, and you understand the impact he has, not just on the rotation, but on the entire staff. And it's a team-wide thing. He runs the team on the field. He positions the defenders. He manipulates pitch counts, pitches, all the things that you want coaches to do. He's a coach on the field, and he's an offensive force. Those two things, to me, make him the MVP right
Is
now.
there a tipping point in terms of how much time he misses that it starts to take away from his candidate?
I don't know. We haven't hit it yet. Let's put it that way.
Good enough. Okay.
Yeah, up until this point, I mean, on the disabled list right now with the knee's a little bulky from what I'm hearing. People in St. Louis eligible to come off the DL Thursday, but let's say it's not good, or let's say he doesn't return to full strength. Those numbers aren't there. At the end of the road, might not have the numbers to really justify being the MVP.
Very rarely do you have an MVP right now that ends up just running away with it. These last 6 weeks, everybody makes a different case, or you're going to hear somebody that we haven't been talking about.
All right, so I'll stat my case for Joey Votto, a guy who doesn't make outs. That's the place that I would go, and a guy who obviously as well plays a pretty good defense.
You're
Not
just
throwing
down.
chilling.
You're down with OBP. That's all.
Fourth in the NL in WAR at 5.2, the National League's best OBP at
I knew it.
437.
Coming.
Good opposite field power. And Joey Votto, obviously a guy that has already won an MVP. He plays on a winning team. It's a third place team right now. What do you got for me on Joey Votto?
For me, value, the MVP is the one award where I place a high value on teams getting to the postseason, because value in baseball is about winning. And it's not Joey Votto's fault that the Reds aren't winning, but
But doesn't that undercut your argument right there?
well, listen.
Aren't you penalizing guys for having bad teammates then? I mean,
No, I mean, an MVP can help his team get more wins.
Right.
And you have to hit with the lineup you're surrounded with, but I keep going. And listen, I'm not arguing against him getting the MVP, because all three of these guys are absolutely in a discussion. Any one of them wins it, you can we're making the case for each of them, but I still believe that you have to be able to win with the glove and with the bat, and I think Yadier's that guy.
If you're on a non-playoff team, you've got to be head and shoulders above the rest of the field.
Kind of the Andre
Keep
Dawson.
winning. That's how it goes for me.
all right, here's the fun one. This is the guy that I think is most interesting, and that is Clayton Kershaw. Here are the numbers. First in WAR among pitchers, tied for first among all NL players, an MLB best 188 ERA in just under 183 innings. First in opponent's batting average, second in WHIP, and opponent's OPS. Clayton Kershaw. Kurt Schilling, go.
Well, this gets back to the education of the electorate, I guess, in a sense, because I don't believe pitchers deserve the MVP. I just don't feel like, even the most relievers, you're on the field for 60 or 70 games. Half the schedule is still left to play. Starting pitchers even less. You've got a conversation. We were talking about this earlier, where there's a bunch of different names. No one's jumping out at you, and then you look at him, and everything he does jumps out at you. But I do value wins, and I understand pitchers can't control that completely, but they're 14-11 in his 25 starts, 11-7 in his, and that's not all his fault. But I've watched Greg Maddux win 15 games every single season, and he did it on a lot of bad teams. And I'd like to see him get some more wins, pitch himself.
But think about how bad that offense struggled, though, for the first few months of the season. So that's got to contribute or not contribute to him having more W's. For me, this guy, if he continues at the pace he's at, and like we talked about the other players, if they taper off, and no one really just hits the gas pedal and continues to press through the finish line, I think you have to really consider Clayton Kershaw to win the award. Now, a couple years ago, I was totally against it with Justin Verlander. I thought Ellsbury or somebody else should have won it. But as a position player, I'm going to say, you know what? You got to think about it. If he continues.
I'll tell you where the problem lies now. If the Dodgers end up doing what they're doing and they get to the postseason, everybody's going to say, and I think arguably so, Yasiel Puig is
They
the
have
reason
too many
we did
guys.
that. Well, no, but
Hanley, though. Hanley Ramirez as well.
Since Puig came to the big leagues, look at their record. And that, to me, is what an MVP helps this team win.
Can a reliever win an MVP?
He can, sure.
No. What I'm saying is there. Do you make a distinction? You said a starting pitcher.
I don't
can.
think pitchers deserve.
Okay, pitchers, no. Okay.
Too much of the schedule left.
I love this.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Delight.
Middle name's Saber.
Back off.